you would.
Now, there's only a little bit of time difference. Was it an hour?
Hour.
About an hour.
1 hour difference.
Yeah.
If you have to get up an hour earlier, I guess.
Oh, no, I'm sure he's an early riser. All right.
Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Any items from the public? Since there is none, I need a motion. I'm sorry, sir. Please state your name for the record.
Yeah, my name is Bruce Collins. I live at 136 Meadow Lane. I'm here to try to stop the deaths in the corner of my street. It's been known for years that there should be a traffic light or something put there. I don't know if you're familiar with where 11 cuts across Meadow Lane.
Yeah,
Railroad track.
at the railroad tracks.
Yeah. And I've been here 8 years and I've seen 3 deaths.
Yeah, well, what we can do is pass that on to the Department of
That's
Transportation.
why I'm here to ask the county to take up this situation because you have a lot more power than the citizens do.
Okay.
And we elect you to do this for us. Is this correct?
Well, to a certain point. I mean, you actually would get, since it's a state agency, it's the legislators that have the authority to try to get that done. But we will reach out to them since we are your local
I have a
representative.
cheap solution.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, two left turn signs, each on the other side of Meadow Lane and my side of Meadow Lane. That would create no problems with the accidents. Now, people be inconvenienced, have to go to Eagle School Road to the light.
So no left-hand turns is what you're saying.
No left-hand turn on both sides.
Yeah.
And people that are coming the other way can go, it's like one block out there, everybody's winning. To save lives, what's 2 signs? I mean, that's really.
So,
If you check the police reports on the accidents there, you'll find out it averages 1 every 2 weeks.
So basically, you're saying no left-hand turn coming out of Meadow Lane heading west, and the same way across the street.
Right.
The right-hand turns only.
Yeah. So that's where the confusion's at. I mean, I've lived there for 8 years. I studied it. I went around the neighborhood and tried to figure out the best solution for it.
Uh-huh.
And the light don't seem to be the best solution because of congestion.
Right, right.
And that would
Turn
interfere.
signs, if people are, so they're a block later getting home. You save a life. Is that not worth it?
Well, plus,
These signs are going to be on county property. They won't be on the state route.
we don't own the
Still have to
property.
have state road approval.
Yeah, state
Yeah,
road
the
has
state,
to put 'em
the
up.
state have, we don't own an inch of road.
Okay, do you have the power to put that sign?
No, sir. We don't have the power to put a stop sign up.
But we can send a request to
Yeah,
them.
like I said, we'll reach out for you. And, I mean, we're just now sending
Because, families live there and, it's a well-traveled road.
well, right down on Warren Springs Avenue, not too long ago, a gentleman wanted a stop sign put up coming out onto Warren Springs Avenue. And, he couldn't get the Department of Transportation to do it. He asked us, so we've talked to him. I don't know if it ever got done or not. I mean, we talked to them right there in the
So what
conference
I'm
room.
asking for is, okay, the talk and the follow-up
Sure.
to try to push this thing through as much as you guys have the power to do so.
All right, well, we'll let them know.
And it will, like I say, I've only been there 8 years, and the last lady that got killed there, there's a 3-car pileup, and they had 3 accidents the same day.
I'm very familiar where you're at.
Okay.
All right.
All right, well, thank you for listening to me.
Thank you.
Guys have a
Thank you
good
for
day.
com-
God bless you.
I
Thank
think
you.
his concern about a stoplight not being very good there, but it's also because of the railroad tracks.
Right.
The same thing that impedes it down here at Apple Harvest. The stoplights are there too, so I think the no turn, left turn would be the
I
one
think
of the
it's gonna
simplest
be the best
solutions.
solution.
Well,
I mean, you're gonna have people complaining because they gotta go block out of the way, but if it was their family that died, then they wouldn't feel that way.
Right.
yeah.
I have a meeting this afternoon with somebody from the Department of Highways, and I'll have a conversation with them about it. Not that that's their, what they do, but I'll have a conversation with him because he's
Well, whoever
obviously
you can put in our
very.
doghouse, we'd appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Sorry to hear you're leaving us.
Sir, can you spell your last name for me?
Sir?
Can you spell your last name for me?
G-O-I-N-S.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other items from the public? Need a motion to approve the agenda.
President, I move we approve the agenda if there's no modifications or changes for Thursday, September the 16th, 2021.
Motion's been made.
Second.
Second, any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Any questions on the purchase order?
Welding of the circuit clerk's files or something, what is that?
What page is that?
Oh, gee. It was near the end.
There was a picture Pines,
Yeah,
picture of Chapel Pines.
there it is. What's your page number?
What's the page number on the iPad?
6.
6, yeah. Pittsburgh Chapel Pines, invoice welding services for plat cabinets, county clerk.
The plaque cabinets, you know, they're the big,
Yeah, I don't know, but did something break or something?
I'm sure that's what.
they're all
I
metal,
don't
that's
know
for sure.
Exactly what it was for, but we can check into it.
Well, I was just curious.
I mean, really, if they came in there and welded on a plaque cabinet, it's not a bad price.
No, that's pretty good for
You know?
Well, I think you had more money involved in emptying the cabinet out and putting it all back and doing all that than.
Yeah, because those cabinets, you're not gonna carry them out of the building real easy.
No, that's what I'm saying. You'd have to.
Empty or full?
Nah, I thought about selling mine, but I'm using it for parts now.
Well, you know, Elaine was talking about opening up some safe. I don't know if you're part of that, but,
You think he
well, I hope,
blasted a hole through the safe?
well, I told her when she opens up the safe, I want to be there.
Uh huh.
You know, sort of like that guy.
Time capsule.
Yeah. You know, because it could be, you know, hell, it could be ancient things in there. I want to be there.
You might have put them there.
I was going to say they're not going to be much older than you.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Back John Small's there.
All right. Any other questions on the purchase order? You okay with that, though?
Yep.
Okay. Any questions? Any other concerns? All right, Mr. Davis, no internal budget revisions. That's pretty good. Be this far in, I haven't had too many.
2.5 months.
Yeah, I haven't had many at all, if any. All right, we have several changes in status. New hire recommendation received from the Honorable Sheriff Nathan Harmon for William Henderson as a deputy with an annual salary of $54,495 effective September 16th, 2021.
What does that mean, replacement?
It's a vacancy. But
Was he police officer in some other
he's
jurisdiction?
actually fully certified, so he won't have to go through the academy. So it'll be a little bit of OJT familiarizing himself with Berkeley County.
Where'd he come from?
Jefferson County.
Oh, okay.
We talked about this a couple months ago about changing it around to
That
allow
was,
him.
that was a couple months ago.
Okay. I understand.
Did you hear that Pete passed away?
I
The
did.
sheriff of Jefferson County.
Yeah.
Pete daughter.
Yeah. Down in Sarasota.
Yeah, Sarasota. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a shame. He's a good guy.
he was. All right, changes in status received from Jennifer Swisher, Director of 911 for Caitlin Diggs, Chastity Lovelace. They are going from trainees to telecommunicators. Their salary will increase from $40,310 to $43,775 effective September the 10th, 2021. Letters of resignation received from the Recovery Resource Center for the following: Adrian Villarreal, effective September 24th, 2021. Rachel Lambert, effective September 14th, 2021. Any status on that one, Mr. Davis?
Just two
Change.
peer recovery coaches that decided it's not the kind of work they want to do.
Okay.
And the two upgrades in 911, Caitlin Diggs and Chastity Lovelace, they were the group of telecommunicator trainees that just reached their 1 year anniversary and mass mothers coming in.
And we had, that was a pretty good class. There
It was
were a lot of them.
class. We're getting ready to start another class of 5 call takers.
Right.
So once this new class of call takers comes on board, we'll be down 2 vacancies.
Okay.
We're getting close.
Letter of resignation, well, in that department, we always need to have about 3 extras, it seems like.
You good?
Letter of resignation received from the assessor's office for Monica Snyder, effective September 17th, 2021. Any questions on change in status? Approval of minutes for September 2nd, 2021. Everyone was present. Any changes or corrections? Moving on to the county council calendars. We'll be here next Thursday on the 23rd. Time's flying by. And
Days are getting shorter.
they are. On boards and commissions, nothing for this evening. On Monday the 20th, 4 p.m. Health Board, 4 p.m. Eastern Panhandle Transit Authority, 5:30 p.m. Main Street Martinsburg, 6 p.m. Planning Commission, 6 p.m. Airport Authority. What a busy day that is.
Yeah, I know.
Tuesday the 21st, 9 a.m. WRNR Councilperson Vice President Whitaker will be on.
Yeah, I'll be on there tomorrow also.
Well, you're just a rock star.
Yeah.
11
Slow news day.
11:30 a.m. Parks and Rec on Tuesday, 5 p.m. Sewer District, 6 p.m. Stormwater. We still, the new director hasn't started yet, but soon, right?
Actually, it's the 20th, I think.
Okay. Wednesday the 22nd, 10 a.m. Convention Visitors Bureau, 3 p.m. Senior Services. Thursday the 23rd, 5 p.m. Ambulance Authority, 5 p.m. Library Board. Any changes or corrections?
The health board will be Zoom. I'm thrilled.
Still zooming?
Yep.
Man, I thought you I thought you said they had. Well, no, it was another meeting that wasn't Zoom. It was that you went to for the first time in a long time.
They changed it all back though, didn't they? They're just doing Zoom.
They've always done Zooms.
All right.
Zoom.
Need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Mr. President.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Nothing from the assessor. Board and meeting reports, Mr. Barnhart.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Back together here. We had a Region 9 Planning and Development Council that was partly in place and partly Zoom. We had 4 new members, which only 2 showed up, but Mayor Kevin Knowles, Mayor Greg Vaughn, he was there, Chad Weinbrenner wasn't there, and Lynn Goodwin of Morgan County was there. Let me see. We gave a service award to Mark Baldwin for 20 years of service.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Long time.
We introduced Megan Deal. She is our environmental program coordinator. She took Matt Pennington's place, so that was good. Actually, it was mostly just routine material, appointment of members to personnel committee and on-call consultant committee, and that kind of stuff. And then Monday evening, I had a public service water district meeting. They had 3 bid openings. Arcata North Phase 2 for about $80,000. There's only 1 bid there. Giles Mill, about $415,000. And a bid opening for the Woods, which is $2.9 million. Of course, they'll have to review those and get back with us next week.
What's the Woods one out there? Is that line replacements or
No, it's
new line?
Meters probably.
new hooking up to the wells, putting wells in, that kind of stuff.
I got it.
New pumps.
They approved the mainline extension agreement for Timberwood East, which is 3-run road, 30 houses. And that was pretty much it.
Mr. Bellier.
I had to go to Myrtle Beach to make sure the sun was still nice and shiny down there.
Good for you. Vice President Whitaker?
I had no meetings other than a Zoom call with the Ryan Strategies. It was just something that the Mountaineer Behavioral was presenting to us, and they may be before it's all over with.
Mm-hmm. All right. Mr. Coconut.
Yesterday, I had the privilege of welcoming Senator Capito from Martinsburg, Berkeley County, also Mr. Davis and Mr. Sy, and I support their efforts yesterday. And yesterday evening, had a criminal justice board meeting where Tim gave his report that he actually given to us a week before. So not much change there, but I tell you, there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of activity in that building. Just sitting there watching people interact with probably a half hour before the meeting, and just watching people come and go, and the upbeat of morale of it seemed like everybody that was mostly leaving there, you could tell that they were better, you know. So it was a little bit of an eye-opener for me just to see the amount of activity.
I spoke with the janitor of the building not too long ago, and he was telling me how impressive it is to be over there, of watching people coming in, getting services that's being provided, how they're thankful. He said once in a while you'll get the one that comes through and says, oh, you know, blows it off, but he said a large, very large portion of the people coming are very appreciative of the opportunity they have.
And I could see that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I forgot to mention that Doug and I went to, they have a conference over there of the day report centers in the state, several of the day report centers in the state on Friday. I did attend that before I left out of town, actually right before. And it was amazing to find out the thought process going on with all of them, that almost all of those don't get much help from their county councils or commissions, but they don't go in front of them. They don't report the good things. They don't report and you know, and let those individuals see what successes they're producing, and I think we were the youngest, the newest day report center out of all of them that were in that, and we are far ahead of where they are. And so, you know, Doug and I, our conversations where you guys need to get at the table. You need to sit down to the table and make sure everybody knows what you're doing and how the benefits are helping your communities out. You know, and I think that was the biggest difference between ours and theirs, is that they're really not doing that part of it. It seems like they're doing good work, but they're just not doing that part of it to make sure everybody knows.
Well, it's like yesterday with the criminal justice board meeting, you know, you've got the prosecutor sitting there, you have the representative of the sheriff's office, the school system, you know, I mean, you got the players at the table, and you know, last week or week before, you know, we supported recovery coaches for the juvenile. You know, that's huge, and that they're going to make a difference. They're going to make a difference.
Well, and that's the thing, Eddie. Talk about it all the time. Is, you know, we're darn near firing on all cylinders. There's a couple cylinders still out of tune a little bit, but it used to be in the criminal justice board. You had a prosecutor that chaired it that didn't support it. You had no representation from the sheriff's department. You even had the sheriff one time refused to sign any paperwork to get a grant. So, which finally came around, but that's, I mean, it's so, as Mr. Wine says before, to the federal government, in order to get things done, you gotta be working together instead of pulling apart. So, but anyway.
I'm sure that board's going to miss you as well.
Yeah, I mean, Reverend was a big contribution to that board,
Just
and,
yesterday.
and,
I'm still thinking that if we don't accept his dismissal or his
He
non.
can't go?
He can't go.
well, they do have flooding in Texas, you know?
But I do believe that his wife would make it mandated to
Yeah,
us that
I
we
don't,
accept it. So.
I don't think there's any way he's gonna say, well, he's gonna choose us over his grandbabies.
We were just wishful thinking, that was all.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, the other thing on that part is that, you know, Penny done me a nice spreadsheet, didn't she, Alan?
She did an excellent job.
On
And she was born as soon as she got that request.
Rock star.
so there was a 5-year analysis that we was able to present them on being able to go back to their county commissions and saying, and punch in their own numbers of you know, how many people goes through the judicial center every year, what's your regional jail bill, if you do X and Y, this is what you could save and all that stuff. And hopefully they'll take that and use it to their advantage. But the biggest thing is you got to be able to present, and Tim said the same thing, you got to be able to present the benefits, you know. And sad to say, you know, we've always said it didn't matter whether we were able to save money or not. If we save lives, that's the biggest thing we're trying to do. But for us to come out of pocket, I mean, just very little money, if any, to do this, we showed them how they could do it, possibly, and also told them about how important it is to have a grant writer. That's all they're designated to do. Even had one of them say that they didn't want to grow the day report center anymore. It's like, wow. So
Yep, not only that, we offered to speak to their county commissions or councils if, you know, if they needed somebody to come talk about, you know, what we've done. We offered to do that as well. You know,
Yeah.
so,
So-
we're all in that. You know, their problem's our problem. We're all here together in this state, and if we can help them, we're going to help us as well. So.
but that was a good meeting, and I'm on Thursday night we had fire board meeting. I did not attend because I chose my daughter over the fire board meeting. So it was not only my granddaughters but my wife and my grandchildren were there as well. So
I did watch a journey.
I did too. It's pretty amusing.
Yes, it was. I highly recommend that we may publish that for them.
yeah. Well, you know, something that the wife really enjoyed. She said.
I would have loved to have a video of them riding in the dark,
Uh,
whistling and singing just to keep the deer from running.
Me too. I was thinking the same thing.
That would have been interesting.
My wife and daughter rode 106 miles on bikes on Sunday, Monday. They were hoping to ride 160 some miles, but they chose not to do the last leg, but on the Greenbrier River Trail. And the first night, I have to say, while their schedule, I don't know if she did that, on Saturday night about 11:30, I had all three of my grandsons sleeping out in the bunkhouse in Pocahontas County, and my youngest one, which is 3 years old, he'll be 4 next month, woke up about 11:30 going, can't breathe. You know, he couldn't breathe. It was, bad. He couldn't even talk. So had to rush him to the hospital Sunday morning early about midnight, and thank God it wasn't one his brother had when he was little, because they had to take him to Nova for 3 days in ICU. But a steroid, a mist with steroids, and it was able to get him opened back
Nebulized.
up. Yeah, and but he still.
Did they have an allergic reaction to something? Or?
They said he actually has a little bit of pneumonia. So when when that took place, it was very questionable whether they were going to go. And I told him to go ahead and go, and I'll take care of him and get him his medicine and stuff. So that's why they were riding in the dark. They wanted to get out and on the road by 9 o'clock that morning. They didn't get started until 1 o'clock that afternoon.
I like the little trial that they had of wanting to get electricity.
Yeah.
Your wife,
The wife wanted to borrow it.
She wanted to borrow the electricity, and I would agree to that if I was the homeowner. You
Yeah,
know?
just leave $10 or $5 on the table, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they enjoyed it. She's looking to do it more often. All right, board and commission vacancies. Any activity there? All right. I seen Gary Wine here just a couple minutes ago. All right. I guess we'll just sit here and take a break until we get started for the 9:15 then. Or is it Gary out there? Nope. Take a break. All right, we're back in session. Next on our agenda is Matthew Umstead, Director of Policy and Strategic Planning Coordinator, recognition of Thea Clutter and Gary Stanley, creation of the official Berkeley County seal. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see everybody here today. Another great morning to be alive in Berkeley County. And, appreciate your time. I wanted to start out by saying I would be remiss if I did not take the opportunity to thank Jeff Fry again with our county's IT department for developing the mock-up design you might have seen earlier this year. It's been a real pleasure to work with Jeff and everybody with the IT team. Gary, and he doesn't like to single out anybody, so we'll just single out the whole department. They do a great job and helping me and Christian with various projects. I can't say enough about that. With his mock-up design in hand and your blessing to proceed, we obviously proceeded with the project. And I reached out to a gentleman by the name of Gary Stanley. And Gary's sitting right here behind me for his counsel, because I knew Gary from a previous occupation that I recently had. And I can't say too much about that. But anyway, he was very much a friend of the Herald Mail. Anyway, I knew Gary had a sharp eye for detail. He is a very detail-oriented guy, and he's obviously done some other work that I'm not at liberty to talk about for the Sheriff's Department. Been a friend of the Sheriff. Anyway, over the phone, Gary endured many discussions and dissections of this project, many hours. We talked about it for hours. And he endured all of my ramblings on that topic. Despite all that, his enthusiasm never wavered, and it was quite the opposite. Actually, he's very much excited about this, and I'm excited. After our artist provided, and we all know our artist name, Clea, I should say Thea. Now I got it.
I was getting ready to say, you seem like you're more relaxed in front of us, Matt.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to relax. I'm trying to take 10 deep breaths. Anyway, so, after our artist provided the seal designs to review, Gary was quick to assess the technical strengths and weaknesses of each design. He literally pointed out, like, lines in the drawings that were, this needs to be adjusted. His eye is just incredibly sharp. I mean, he just spotted it right away. And his insight was invaluable, and I can't thank him enough for volunteering his time for the project. Without inflating Gary's ego any further, I'd like to invite Gary to come forward and just present him with a certificate, and we'll move and we'll present Thea, and then we'll take pictures out.
Okay, sounds great.
Gary, on behalf of the county, Berkeley County Council, myself, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Gary, thanks a lot for the detail.
Oh, yeah, I noticed some things. He wanted me to say, hey, what do you think of this? I was like, wait a minute, the side's crooked and stuff. He's like, I never did notice that.
All right.
I'm like, you don't have a 34-inch computer monitor.
Oh, where's Gary Wine at?
I kind of look like him in a way.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. If you ever need some help, ask Matt. You can ask me.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, it says here you're a junior.
Yeah.
Who's the senior?
My dad.
Well, I'm sure it was.
Snoop.
Snoop. That's what I thought. Okay.
He doesn't like being retired. He misses the fire service.
I'm sure he does.
So he's going crazy. He's driving me crazy.
Don't leave me to take pictures, okay? Anybody-
Tell him I said hi.
Oh, sorry.
I will.
So Gary was just tremendous help for this process, and I just don't know what I would do, really. Before introducing Thea to you all formally, who produced the designs for this county seal, it must be said that everything, and I mean everything, happens for a reason. Oftentimes you think you know what's going to happen, but then you find out otherwise. You discover what you think is going to happen doesn't actually happen. When I was introduced to Thea on August the 6th, not too long ago, I was beginning to wonder if the goal to complete this project by Labor Day was going to happen. But Thea made it happen very quickly. She not only delivered a first set of designs within 3 days, 3 days, 17 years old, Sherrodstown, must have been a high school senior, 3 days. Very impressive for a first draft of designs. But it was even faster to respond to multiple requests for revisions, tweaks, and new design ideas over little more than 2 weeks. She did not flinch one bit. Very steady, very laid back, very easygoing, very likable person. It was simply amazing to discover how quickly she was able to produce work in response to the steering committee's request. She told me recently she has aspirations to become a medical doctor, but also plans to continue her work as an artist. And if you didn't happen to notice, she has her the shop that she works at a local tattoo shop here in
She's
Lawrenceburg.
not in here.
She left.
No, or something.
That's why I was asking you when you said she's here. I
She's
said,
not here, so go on.
Walked in the door. Okay, well, maybe
They
she.
were missing something here.
Yeah, I thought maybe she's shorter
He's
enough.
pretty, man, but
I walked in the door. Maybe she left.
maybe she got nervous. Wait a second. No, sounds.
Well, we'll start over.
All right.
It's like,
Well, you want me, Matt? Is everyone here?
I thought everyone was here, but I walked into the door and didn't have a seat there.
There was Matt was bragging it all
I was
up,
just
and you weren't
talking,
even
yeah,
here.
and I don't even know where to start now. I'm on the funnel. Yeah. Anyway, I was just talking about how quickly you were responding to our request, and I probably sent her. I'm not even kidding. 20 emails.
yeah.
I probably sent her like 20 emails. As I said, I talked to her recently. She has aspirations of becoming a medical doctor, but she also continues to plan to work as an artist. She actually works, I think she's an actual tattoo artist with Blackheart Tattoo Gallery there in Martinsburg. She was an apprenticeship, is that right? You were an apprentice? This summer.
What grade are you in?
I'm in 12th grade.
Oh, yeah.
In an honor roll. I think she's weren't you in the honor roll last? Yeah, I think I saw that in the journal newspaper. Obviously, very easygoing, very laid back, and she did not even hesitate. I gave her an out of the blue request, and she just drilled it. I mean, just very, very talented. I've spoke a little bit more of your work that you've done online, and it's amazing what people who have artistic ability can do. I can't draw a stick figure, so. But the bottom line is this: on behalf of the steering committee, we want to wish you the best, and with your future endeavors, and must extend a big thank you for volunteering your time for this project. In the words of one steering committee member, what has been accomplished with this seal project will stand the test of time. At this time, I'd like Thea to come forward and present her with a certificate of achievement and formally thank you, Thea. Appreciate that. And you can see the seal that you drew is right there, and signatures of everyone. Do you like to say a few words about how annoying I was with all the emails, or anything else about your?
Go ahead and speak your mind. Tell us.
Tell us about Matt.
Share a story. Why not?
I love working on it with him and having the opportunity to do this for you guys. Yeah, it was fun, like finding all the different ways I could make it and all the different ideas he had and bringing them to life for him. So yeah, I was happy to do that.
When she said she'd like to do it for us guys, this is for the whole county.
She looks
Yeah.
more
This is for
comfortable up there
everybody.
than you do, man.
Yes, she is. And I wanted to tell you, Thea, just so you know, your design will hang on the wall here.
Yeah, what you created was for this year, right? But you'll be part of history,
Yeah.
right? You'll be talked about on the 500th celebration.
Yeah,
Right.
don't forget to put on your resume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the neat thing about it is, I was thinking, in my opinion, I may be wrong, but to be a doctor, a medical doctor, and especially if you're going to be a surgeon, it's going to take a steady hand. What better way to do that is through art and your artwork on tattoos. So they'll go hand in hand with each other one day, right? So
And I just want to take a moment They are planning a ceremony, and you and Gary are welcome to attend May 19th next year,
You'll get an email.
where you'll get an email.
An invitation.
You'll get another email, and for the unveiling of the plaques, and you're welcome to attend that day.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Anybody else?
I gotta ask one question.
Oh.
Your last name's Clutter. Tommy, Greg, any of those ring a bell? No? Okay. Greg works at the quarry and Greg used to, and Tommy used to, or does. So. Just wanted from us when they work from there.
Mr. Gognar, you guys?
I was always amazed when we have young folks come before us. Your enthusiasm, you have a beautiful smile, you have a great outlook on life, and thank you for helping create a seal that's going to stand in this county for a long time. Thank you.
And she comes from the great community of Georgetown.
What she does, it's a nice little town. That's for sure.
One Musman graduate to another.
That's right.
She doesn't seem as thrilled about it as we do. Just like, oh, it's another thing I did, you know.
Well, when she gets our age, she'll look back and say, man, that was an honor.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
But right now she's probably thinking about how important it is to get her medical license to work on such old people that stand in front of her, sitting in
Or
front
else
of her
she's
today.
probably thinking, how can I get away from this podium and get away from this?
All right. Well, thank you. We'll take a quick break for photos, okay? All right. All right. I will take a break.
You're on,
Red.
sir.
Great.
Red.
All right, we're back in session. Next on our agenda is Gary Wine, Deputy County Administrator, staffing changes. Sir, it's always a pleasure to see you.
You know, I use the word change when I'm in the request for more, but.
That's all right. We knew you would soften us up a little bit.
So I made a mistake. Back in late 18, early 19, I went to my boss over there and was talking about the person who had the position of IT coordinator took another position in the organization and kind of stepped into working with Tim in the DRC. And I thought it was tough and thought, well, you know, we're really struggling for IT people. I said to Alan, I can still remember looking at me, and he said, as long as you don't come back in and ask for this back. He said it, I'll admit it. So I thought I could do the administrative work by myself and kind of keep things going, and I can't. I'm failing to the point that some invoices, sometimes it takes me 3 months just to get them done. To give you an example, we billed $351,000 of service work last year. And I'm not doing a good job. I'm not giving it justice, that piece of what we do downstairs.
Which is a very important piece.
It is, and it always was. It's all on me. I should have never done it, but there was a demand for more help, and I thought it made sense to add the labor and eliminate the support. I can't do it.
I have to say, this is the first time I've been here that you've actually said that you can't do something.
I don't like to say that. I can do it, I'm just not good at it, and it takes me a very long
And the
time.
thing of it is, with Gary's technical expertise in all the areas that we have him working in, we're not paying him to do clerical duties.
Correct.
And Penny and Julie and Tracy have all helped out with getting proposals and putting bids out and things like that. But he does, I know a lot of it, he does himself too with his readings and things like that, so.
Oh, I got proof that somebody says that he never stops and is always working at home and. Yeah.
There's a rat in my house.
So there's not a decrease in pay where we chopped his pay a little bit?
We
when he
chopped
was
his
doing
pay about
that?
10%.
Yeah, when he was doing those jobs.
Kind of like a little depromotion.
Yeah. This is going the wrong way. And
We're trying to. You look like you stressed out a little bit this morning. We're trying to cheer you up.
you just see me yesterday afternoon. So this isn't quote unquote administrative assistant. I don't ask and never have asked, hey, type this for me, hey, do that. I type 105 words a minute. My fingers move pretty quick. I can do that.
I'm up to 5.
All right.
2005.
This is really, and Alan helped probably 10 years ago when this started out in 2010 as quote unquote administrative assistant. And then it grew into, which you all know, he's an expert at identifying processes and say, you know, it used to be this, but if we elevate it here, it adjusts the caliber of personnel, it adjusts the salary, and it adjusts the outcome of what you get. So we created it, the title is IT coordinator. So yes, there's administrative work in there, but this person deals with the comp of your salespeople. This person deals with lease expirations, contract expirations. I mean, our contract budget is almost $600,000. So there's a lot of moving parts that are monitored there. I'm terrible. I'm absolutely terrible at it because, honest to goodness, my day starts here at 6:30, and some days I look up and it's still 6:30, and I haven't eaten lunch. And everybody in the organization's like that. I'm not saying just Gary Wine, but I justify the request because one, I'm failing at it, and two, I need the help to continue to, and I hope that everybody believes we're successful. I don't get hardly ever complaints about work product and people. We just took on 4 massive projects just this last month to the tune of another $100,000 worth of work. So we continue to grow, we continue to support, and I just need that help.
And you know, I always have to say this, and I do say this every time because your department is now 19,
Right, yes, sir.
right?
Plus several contractors. We're about 24.
Right. So, but at the same time, you're taking on additional work. Things aren't the way that I would see them. You know, I told Penny last week, and when I asked her to do a spreadsheet, she said, I said, don't worry, I can do a spreadsheet, but it's by pen and paper and not on a computer. So, but it's very important for us to continue to have the same statement in the conversation saying that not only is your department growing, but you're also pulling in last year $350,000 in revenue and still saving people in the community that serves the government very well.
And we don't budget that revenue.
Right.
It's part of when we put together our levy document, I mean, we know it's out there, but we typically use that. We return that, and the reason we don't recognize that as revenue, because we return that back to the IT department.
But we know
form of supplies, materials, and things like that.
We know it's a source of revenue, but we don't know how much revenue.
We have an idea, but when you look at your, it shows up under refunds and reimbursements because we use it to reimburse the IT department. So the revenues that they generate is returned to the budget, and support would be returned in support of this position.
That's correct. We use that money, so we doubled it. You fund us for salaries, that money comes back and we spend it for product and materials and things like that to keep things.
That we're unbudgeted at the beginning of the year.
Correct.
Right. That's how we're able to do the things we are able to do.
That's correct. And we tried, the council's advice or direction to me was when we started this, one, we don't want to compete with the businesses in the open market, but at the same time, if they're ancillary agencies like the Development Authority and such that have great benefit by doing business with us at that level, we know things and we do things and we have access to stuff that just someone coming in, hey, I'm the computer, would have no idea. We can bring people together, and we do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
From the solid waste authorities dump stations, they're connected. They have computers in the middle of those huts in the middle of the building. So it's unique, and I think everybody wins when we do that.
Yeah, and I've never heard anybody complain. So it's or even complaining about the IT department's growing. Because everybody benefits from it.
And when we charge at a flat rate. We don't, for example, if our staff has to go out on the weekends at night, we don't charge a premium rate. We charge them the same rate that if they had been called out at noon on a Wednesday. So there's
benefit.
And you give them that 5 hours annually, which amounts to a lot.
But there's another part of that service that we don't talk about. We were in the Development Authority a couple weeks ago, and we had some individuals come in, and we were trying to do a presentation, and the guy couldn't get hooked up to the monitor, and there was an issue, and it was a phone call. Hey, how do we do this? Oh, we got to update something. So just over the phone update, and within a couple minutes we had it up and running, and it was just a quick conversation on the phone. So,
or he's part of the meeting. He says, that red button does the same thing you're trying to do with that remote.
Don't say anything. That's me.
Yep.
And the second piece to the request is there are 2 layers. Well, there's 4 layers inside the team, but one of the great layers that is really exploding from demand from outside agencies to internal agencies, from the LAMA deployment in planning and engineering. We do a lot of work for law enforcement 911. It's GIS. We're faced with, and you may or may not remember me talking about an acronym called ESINet. Right now in the 911 world, not to get too far into the weeds, but in the 911 world, when you can dial 911, believe it or not, it travels across an old piece of copper line, gets delivered, and comes down to 911. The new technology delivers that stuff across the network, and every phone call is GIS relevant, meaning if Dan went to dial setting right there, the XY coordinates from his cell phone's going to say, you're sitting right there in the Dunn building, they haven't added C's, and probably not the 7th floor. We have astronomical amounts of work to do for emergency services, water, sewer, and so on and so forth, and all of that hinges on GIS. I have 2 full-time people. One has been, matter of fact, Jeff Fry, who I think Matthew mentioned earlier, is the longest serving person on our team. Short of me, he reminds me of that daily. And secondly, Caitlin Mock. So in 2012, we had two. And if you remember, I think it was last year, early fall, maybe so, where I asked to reinstate a position that we had riffed back in 2012 when the market was slow and weren't
I was gonna say, that's a slow time back then.
Well, it is not slow now, and Mr. Cobain has met some people out in the field. We're out sometimes 2 days a week just doing addresses, trying to keep up. So it's another piece that's really drifting. In fact, we're not keeping up. The demand on the emergency services side, and it's not just 911. We do fire, law, EMS, and 911 on HIS stuff. It's almost an everyday occurrence. We're dealing with something on a map. We're dealing with something. We've got 2 full-time positions and 2 contracted positions. I would never stand in front of you if I could say statistically that absolutely positively there's more than enough work to keep a full-time person busy. These positions now, this one is about 2 years old, working 40 hours a week, we can't get it done. So it's to our advantage if the council approves to go ahead and make it a full-time position, because I have a hard time keeping them, lobbying against Washington County, Loudoun County, looking to make grab these people who are educated, bachelor's degrees, experienced. They come and get the experience and then they get attracted by benefits. Well, I'm fearful of that and not wanting to start over, so I'm hoping that based on the demand and the funding that we can do that one at the same time, because it's overwhelming.
And our IT department's doing all the GIS heavy lifting for water, sewer, and stormwater.
That's correct.
Which we bill them for, again.
Now, let me ask you a crazy question. Jim Barnhart, I think you said that I heard that the water district is starting to map all their water lines and stuff like that. Sewer new one, something,
Sewer
right?
district.
It's us.
I was gonna say, why can't we do that?
It's us. It's us. So
Are we sending a camera down and we're locating the camera?
No, they have handheld devices.
Okay.
They have handheld devices that we don't. They do it's data collection. So there isn't anything, and the model works wonderful, where you have a data collector that is a service engineer or whatever their titles are that are in the field. They have collecting units in their hand, and they say, okay, a 4-inch line in point A, point B, we do the GIS work. You don't have to run up. I mean, they're straight. They didn't know if there's an elbow. They know that in there. It's not a matter of putting stuff.
Well, yeah, on Main Street, they're all straight.
Right.
Manhole to manhole.
So that's downstairs. All that happens downstairs.
Well, I was thinking I thought you had a price tag on that, how much that was gonna cost.
Sewer, that's a sewer.
Yeah.
Water line, they know where the water lines
Actually,
are.
in my understanding, they're cammering and mapping the sewer lines.
Which the camera has a locator on it.
GPS.
Nearly $4.4 million.
I was gonna say, it wasn't
that's
no
just the collection.
$300,000.
No, but that's just data collection that comes back here,
And
and
then
then
you-
GIS processes that stuff.
So
So,
the next bid was 8.5 million.
so know in that world that that's only one piece of data. Where does it go? Remember,
No, I
what is it?
understand.
What size is it? What does it do here and there? All of that works down here. So that's only one piece of the puzzle. The rest of it happens here.
You know, all the work we met with Senator Capito talked about $70 million worth of upgrades that are needed to the water system. Well, all the information, all the maps that we used for that presentation yesterday, although the water department's the one that did the PowerPoint presentation, all the maps that were used for that PowerPoint presentation was generated by our IT department.
Right.
The enterprise geodata. And it's a normal setup. I mean, when you go to the government bodies in different states, but in counties to the east specifically, you would have a department within the division of technology that was GIS, right? And that's really where we're building to. You know, we've got service, we've got GIS, we've got technical fleet, we've got fleet service. There's a whole bunch of arms underneath that are really doing service work, right? Really and we're involved to the HVAC level and to the lighting level and all that stuff because it is all technology today. It's unbelievable. Your contractors, you're very mechanical. Mr. Barnett, I'm sure chickens need lights too, right? So the days of installing a light switch in a commercial building that isn't under controls, where you can't say, okay, these lights right now are all at 100%. I could dim them to 80. You wouldn't see it, but we could assume a 20% reduction in energy costs immediately. And so there's stuff like that that I'm involved with daily, and the team gets involved with, that sometimes my head spins just thinking about it.
The other thing to take into consideration is, we're always looking at, making sure that we have the right people in the right places at the right time. Jeff has been here since the inception of our GIS program.
100%. He was the very first GIS team member.
And he will soon be, if he's not already, retirement eligible.
He's coming close.
Right. So, we need to think, when he has all that institutional knowledge, what happens when he leaves? We need to make sure that whatever he has in his head is passed on to the next generation of GIS.
Just a very chipper person when I see him. I mean, it's always
I think he
happy.
loves what he
And if he's
does.
listening when I get downstairs, he won't sit down. He'll walk around all day. His head
Yeah.
is so sore.
Yeah, that's all right. Little needle, take care of it.
So am I correct that the second request is an additional position?
Yes, sir.
Then you're gonna still have the current funding that you have to do,
Yes, sir.
right? Okay.
Well, what?
These are both new.
Yeah, they both have to be funded.
That's correct.
Right.
And what we
But he's
will do-
already got funding that he has somebody working in, you're just gonna transfer him into this position, am I correct?
No.
No, you're gonna hire somebody else?
No. So the people whom are doing this right now, particularly on the GS side, they're contractual. I pay, so we generate revenue with services, and I use that revenue to pay the contract. So, I'm asking for a budget infusion for both, for new funding for both.
And
What
payroll.
we'll do is through state budget revision, as we build through, instead of putting all that money back into supplies and materials, we may use some of that to fund these. And at the end of the year, it may require some infusion from the general fund. But looking at the numbers and the unencumbered fund balance he had left over last year in his department, we could probably fund these positions just through what the excess from what he builds.
Right.
For 59.5 and 63, that's the total of both of them?
Yes, sir. With benefits. Yes, sir.
Okay. You need a motion?
Yes, please.
I'd like to move that Mr. Wine's request for 2 new positions at the order of 59,518 and 62,906 be approved for when?
We have to publish it immediately. We could publish immediately.
Immediately.
All right, have a motion on the floor. We have a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the good work, Mr. Wine. And that's on a serious note. All right, next on our agenda, we have a board and commission interview. Patrick Darlington, candidate for Sewer District, Water District, and CVB. Patrick, it's good to have you in front of us for a change.
Thank you, sir.
Huh?
Thank you.
I'm always talking to you. Now we can, we can see if, we'll learn a little bit more about you that we don't already know. How's that? So
All right.
tell us why you're here, why you want to serve on a board, and a little bit of background.
I'll start with a little bit of background. I was born and raised here in Berkeley County. Graduated Marshburg High School, Shepherd College. Worked here in the county for years. And then in 2004, took a little venture out of the county and went and bought a Chevrolet dealership in Tucker County, West Virginia. Ran that for years, and while there was with the dealership, also got elected county commissioner in Tucker County. So I've been on your all side of the fence over there for a little bit.
And I asked him how in the world did he get that done, being an outsider from Tucker County, and being a car dealership.
That's because of Chevrolets.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. They weren't breaking down where they had it.
And then in 2018, sold the dealership, and when we sold the dealership, I said it's time to move back home. I came back home. Now currently, I'm with the Development Authority as the Assistant Associate Director.
And doing a good job.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
That leads into why I'd like to get involved with some boards, with the water board and the sewer board. I think the connection there between the development authority and those two boards would definitely help build some unity and keep people on the same page and everybody know what everybody's doing and a beneficial relationship for all involved.
Good. I think that would be a pretty nice fit. So, all right, Mr. Barnhart, you got any questions for Mr. Darlington?
Well, the water board is currently full, and I don't have a vacancy on the water board. I'll keep you in mind if a vacancy ever shows. But I appreciate your interest, and you're probably correct in the coordination of the development authority with some board. And I guess you have experience with these kinds of things from Tucker County.
Yes, sir.
So there's nothing I can really ask you that I'm probably already aware of, but I do appreciate your interest.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Delier, I'm sorry.
You got it's your job. You got to call out the next person. At least do your job. By the way, a little side note. If you can type 5 words a minute with one finger, if you use all 10, you can get 50.
Yeah, but I don't have that coordination.
Gotta work it. No,
I can't get all 10 fingers on my phone.
They have split screens now.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good idea. I think it's a good idea for you to get involved in, and we were talking about the water and sewer board, but I think the CVB is a good fit as well. I think the CVB is tasked with marketing Berkeley County, and I think the Development Authority is tasked with marketing Berkeley County. So I think the two of those, obviously, to work better hand in hand and work together. Not they don't, but to have you on both of those, I think makes perfect sense. And there is an open seat on that. So we'll definitely keep you in mind for that. And thank you for wanting to get involved in helping do your job, what you do, and help us out working with you. So,
Mr. Whitaker.
Mr. Darlington, thank you so much. I always like to thank anybody that's willing to give back to their community, and I can most certainly see you've done it probably tenfold in your previous position in Tucker County. I've got a lot of friends in Tucker County too. So
It's a beautiful county.
it sure is.
You got friends everywhere. I was just talking about that the other day. There's not anybody out there that don't like Jim Whitaker.
Well, I don't know. It depends on what day you ask them. So,
Let's put it this way. I've never ran across anybody that don't like you.
well, maybe you need to walk in my shoes.
That's why I'm trying to grow my hair more like you.
I was going to say,
You gotta get a haircut.
maybe you need to walk up Nadenbush Lane and go on Patrick's Court and walk around in that mobile home park up there a little bit, especially when rent's due. But anyway, again, thank you. And Tucker County's got some pretty interesting things going on there pretty soon. So, so you've been on both sides of this fence, and you see it, you've lived it. And I can only see that the knowledge you're going to bring is going to be beneficial back here to Berkeley County again. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gokenauer, I'm sorry.
Oh, welcome back home.
Thank you.
Yeah, and,
Yeah, sure.
I know you've got deep roots here.
Yes.
And I know your family's been here a long time, very respected. And, when I was going through your application here, I thought, man, this is a pretty good fit for a lot of different areas. So, Patrick, what do you see as some of our largest challenges, in particular for the water and the sewer?
For the water and sewer, I think one of the largest challenges right now is the rate of growth. I think is outpacing the rate of infrastructure production. So I think we need to figure out, and it's something we've actually been working on. I was involved yesterday with Mr. Davis in that meeting, and being able to develop the infrastructure we need to accommodate the economic growth in Berkeley.
I totally agree. I think if you would fit in on either one of these boards and bring a very good background, a wealth of knowledge to assist these boards. So thanks for applying. I say I'm on the sewer board, and currently there is not an opening there either. But thanks for applying.
Thank you.
Patrick, I've known you for a little while. Gotten to know you a little bit more in recent time, but you're kind of like Mr. Whitaker. You know, I've never really heard anything bad about you. And absolutely, being a prior county commissioner, you know how important it is for everything that you've asked to be a possibility appointee of is very important, which takes time and dedication, and they are very much tied into the Development Authority and future growth and quality of life that we've been talking about. I'll go. I used to sit on the water board and I used to sit on the sewer board, and I think, to be honest with you, I think there's probably people on the sewer district that would like to have a break because they've been on there probably for 20 to 30 years. Just very seldom you have people to apply for those board positions because they're tough. You know, there's a lot of debt in both of those.
Not any easy answers for anyone.
No, and I think the water district's the same way. You have
But yeah, you actually have to go to Charleston for training.
right, but and we're all aging, but the members on the water district has been there for many years.
Ruby Kern was
Ruby and Mr. Dunham and right. So and they're great board members, but you know. It may be time to talk and say, hey, I know you're dedicated and stuff like that. You know, if there was a good replacement somewhere down the road, would you like to take a break? You know, and so with that said, I don't know, you've applied for 3 boards, and how many boards can you handle? I mean, CVB, I think, meets during the day, right?
10 o'clock next week.
Right, and
on
then
Wednesday.
Water and the sewer districts meet more in the late. Water's like 5 o'clock, right? And sewer districts 6 and 6:30.
Stormwater, and that's for stormwater and sewer, 1516.
Well, the other thing too, Mr. Dokenau, you may not be familiar with, but the reason why the storm sewer district has the same members that the sewer district does, because that was supposed to be a short thing, because they were.
I actually said we were going to do it for the
First year, right.
And haven't changed it.
So that's very tough. You know, might not be so many people like you if you become a board member there, but
we should put Jim on there.
So it's just basically the same board members from the sewer district rolled right into the storm sewer district because they're so familiar with what was going on through the DEP, the EPA, and Department of Justice, and we felt like it would be important for that first year, and that, like Dan said, that first year has already went by.
And that was actually really the second year. They actually operated for a year before that under the control of the sewer board.
Right, and you know, I haven't seen Chuck's name for a while. Good that you associate with him. He's a nice man, good man. Anyway, I don't have any questions other than I'm thrilled that you're taking upon yourself to be able to find the time to sit on boards on your own time in the evening. You know, and they're not easy boards.
No, they're not. They're very beneficial.
Absolutely, and you're right. The biggest thing about the water and the sewer is as we had meetings last week was, you know, you just don't wake up tomorrow and say we're going to put this water line in the ground for miles and expect it to be done. This is something that has to be planned, and water and the sewer district's done a good job, but at the pace we're going, I think we're going to be behind before long.
They got a $70 million list of improvements to make.
And we're working on trying to get the funding for that without going back to the ratepayers as much as possible. So, and it's very important.
Well, it appears your boss is on board with you taking a meeting at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday in the middle of the day. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to appoint him to the CBB.
A motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? You ready for it?
All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The motion carries.
And I'd like to explain just a little bit that one of the things that we've spoken in the Development Authority many times is that we need to be working harder on getting people to locate here to fill some of these jobs, because the Development Authority is creating jobs, and I think the CVB has an excellent opportunity to do that. So,
The CDB is very tied into the quality of life.
yep.
Yeah.
So thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
Gentlemen. Have a wonderful day.
Yes, sir. All right, next on our agenda is Will Lawrence, a fiduciary we don't need anybody for the hearing? Okay.
This is merely a scheduling request.
Okay, fiduciary supervisor, state hearing for Gerald S. Nelson.
Good morning. So yeah, we have a request to schedule a hearing to petition probate for a will in solemn form. The hearing should last no more than 10 to 15 minutes. Just as a general refresher, a petition for to probate a will in solemn form deals with correcting specific abnormalities that have a tendency to occur when individuals try to file a last will and testament. Most commonly, it happens when there is either not two ascribing witnesses. So West Virginia law requires two witnesses not just to be signing onto the document itself, they also have to swear in front of a court officer, typically a notary, that the testator signing the last will and testament is above the age of 18, they're of sound mind, they're not being unduly influenced. And oftentimes individuals who write their own wills or get their wills off the internet don't really consult with the forms and don't actually fill out the proper paperwork. Thus, we have to go out and find these witnesses years and years later, and oftentimes we can't find them. I mean, lives happen and people move on. So in this certain instance for the estate of Mr. Nelson, the decedent drafted their will in Maine, and the authority who drafted the will, the attorney who did, had two witnesses and did not have a swearing affidavit along with it. We got one witness to return a deposition saying all the things I mentioned to you. We did not hear back from the second. So really all this is trying to formalize that process, and council is the only body that can effectively do that. So I will ask the council to schedule that hearing.
You have two estate hearings already scheduled for October 7th.
That's correct.
Do you want to do it at 11:45?
Actually, I can move that back if you wish. My second thing to inform council with, and I spoke with Ms. Shewell about it yesterday, we actually have a hearing scheduled on October 7th for Mr. Thomas Carroll, the estate of Thomas Carroll Jr., and I'm going to ask to suspend that hearing. So that's at 11:30.
Okay, yes, I was confused which you're doing. Okay, so we're going to suspend that one.
Yes.
Okay, so you can move this one into
To the 11:30 slot, yes. The reason for the suspension is shortly thereafter being notified that a hearing had been scheduled, the co-administrators of this estate, who had not filed any secondary filings with my office for over 1.5 years, going on 2 years, decided to file their second filing. So an update was not necessary. So that sort of set itself up.
And I'm sure you told them if they drug their feet once again.
I did indeed. The conflicts stemming from the Carroll estate are stemming from a creditor making a claim against the estate and really not having responsive co-administrators, at least allegedly. So that problem still exists. However, the co-administrators are moving forward with the process, and that's really all we can ask them for at this time anyway.
Okay, so we have you on schedule.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Will. All right. Next on our agenda is Jeff Mosey, Deputy Legal Director, Serenity Bond Releases, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What I asked to be put on the agenda today is an issue that came up sometime in the last several months. We just got a phone call. And, it was actually Dave Pill from Pill and Pill. He had noticed that they were seeing a few of these performance bonds that we get to provide surety for completion of infrastructure and so forth on projects, that they had been recorded along with the developer's agreement and some other documents in the county clerk's office, and they've been going into the deed books. And so when they saw those, it would appear at first glance as if the property that was the subject of the project was encumbered by something, because that's why it would be in the deed. And that's not, as I'm sure all of you know, that's not how performance bonds are supposed to work. They're an agreement between the parties, between the developer and the financial institution to protect
And the engineering and all.
and basically make sure that everything that common properties, the infrastructure and so forth gets done one way or the other. And so I asked Heather and Monique Boots, Heather Williams and Monique Boots, who they deal with the surety the most. Apparently, sometime I think during 2020, they were advised that they're having problems with some of these folks renewing their bonds on time, or renewing letters of credit, things like that on time, that it would strengthen their position if they recorded these with the county clerk. And so that's why it was done just a couple of times. I don't think this is all of them, but the 4 that I've asked you to look at today, but I don't think there are a great number of them. There's only been on, I think, 2 occasions. And you can define them pretty easily because they're one right after the other in the deed books. But so what I'm asking is, Mr. Pill's office drafted this document that will serve as a release of record, from record, basically saying you can't just take something out of the deed books and say it never was there. But with the release, if anybody that sees it, they'll look for releases to see if there's anything removing it. And there was actually one that I found in there that I included from one of the sureties themselves. They had filed something similar on one of the projects to say, this doesn't encumber the property. We're releasing it to the extent that it's seen as encumbering the property. We're not releasing you from the obligations under the bond. And I asked them to include a sentence like that in ours.
So basically you're saying, if I'm thinking correctly, there's a serenity bond out there to basically secure that the project's going to get done, which the purpose of the bond is there to make sure it gets done, but you still have the right to sell the property because you're basically have an insurance policy on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yet it's showing up on the deed books as that piece of property that's being sold before the work's not being done is encumbered.
That's right. And, of course, that's a huge problem because each individual lot, needs to be sold off to some home buyers or somebody, generally, or a business that's, putting in something. And if it looks like the entire project and every piece of it is encumbered, it's a problem. I don't know that it's as much of a real problem, a legal problem, as it is a thought problem or an appearance problem.
Sort of puts a cloud out.
Yeah, a cloud is essentially the word I would use all the time. So what I was asking is that we vote to allow the council president to sign off on these releases, and we need to have them included with the county clerk. I believe they would go to the police. So show up.
And you've checked all these to make sure that everything's in place for us to do this.
Yes.
All right.
And in fact, at least one of those I think is already completed and released. The bond is released.
Right.
It's still the record of it still shows up as being clouded.
All right. Entertain a motion for the Serenity bond releases that's being recommended by our deputy legal director.
So moved.
Motion
Give the
been,
council authority, council president authority. to
Council
sign.
president to sign.
Second.
all right, motion been made and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right. All right, any reason for executive session?
No, sir, not today.
Any items from the public?
We will have executive session next Thursday, but not, we don't need it today.
All right. All right, Mr. Barnhart,
Mr. President, I would like to move to recess.
we are recessed.